There's a reason why you're here on earth. Don't focus on the things that you can't control. Focus on what you can. Focus on the good things that you have in life. Figure out why you have them. Any limiting beliefs that you might have, prove them wrong. Why is that? Where did that come from? How is that wrong? How is that not congruent with my life? Anything that you have, don't take too much time to think. Idea, action, go. Surround yourself with people who you want to be like, and go at it like an animal with God on your back.
A life-altering spinal surgery didn't end his story, it became the catalyst. Zach Del Monaco is a founder and mindset mentor who helps trades and construction leaders scale profit-first businesses and build relationships that last. We'll get practical about moving from don't chase, attract, shaping values into a real operating system, and thinking like a CEO before your first million, without hype, shortcuts, or losing your soul. Grounded in resilience, purpose, and faith. Let's dive in. Zach, welcome to Seek, Go, Create.
Thank you. Such a pleasure and honor to come on.
Cool. All right. So Zach, let's go ahead and get started. For those that are just absolutely watching and going, man, those are two good looking dudes. They got to be close in age. Tim's 62 and Zach is how old?
23, about to turn 24.
23. So we got a good 40, almost 40 years that separates us, but that's cool. We're going to highlight that some in this conversation, and we're going to bridge some gaps for some people here. First question, and this is kind of man, it's not even really an icebreaker, but I like to either go deep or light, and I'll let you choose. Would you prefer to answer the question, what do you do, or who are you? Pick it and answer.
What do I do?
Cool.
Yeah. What do I do? I consider myself a visionary and a builder on a broad scheme. The reason why I say that is because my father owns a construction company, which I'm also part of. I've been doing it in the marketing area, but more so coming down to Florida, almost C-suite area. But I've just been in love with building my whole entire life, building stuff on social media, building construction projects, car dealerships. I love creating more than consuming. So that's why I call myself a builder. And along with the visionary, I seem to always be planning like 3 to 6 months out in advance. And I tell people, and then 3 to 6 months comes and it's like, oh, we should do this. And I'm like, I said that about 3 to 6 months ago, and now we're just starting to think about it. So a builder and a visionary, but really at my core, I'm a bridge builder between the different generations. I have a passion with helping connect the older generations. For example, my parents' generation, 50s, 60s, 70s, with the younger generation. And I've been noticing and feeling that there's a loss of connection between the two, of the relationship, of the bond of the next generation to come, and instilling the values that my father instilled in me, helping the younger generation of men and even women with the values that I believe they should have. Hard work, resilience, persistence, consistency, waking up, being a gentleman, opening the door, like the simple things. And what I've been noticing is that a lot of people in their 20s and 30s, they know that they want more. They just don't know how to go out and get it. So what I've been doing is helping them achieve that clarity in their life and then holding them accountable to be able to go and achieve that. And I've been able to take that not only from the personal life, but also into the business side as well with our Red Rock Construction, being able to go into that CEO mindset and become more of a leader than a person actually in the field. So being able to help people in our company plan out the goals that they want. How do we actually achieve them? And then restructuring, reverse engineering our business so that we can grow and expand. So that's what I do at a core.
That's big.
And basically, I guess you could say who I am too.
That's cool. Yeah. And you know, it's interesting. I had this conversation, I think last week with someone. It's odd the tension that some people have that are people of faith. When you ask them that, it's like, okay, what would you rather answer? What do you do or who are you? It's almost like they think they should answer the who are you. But oddly enough, we'd really prefer to say what we do. And there's not a right or wrong with it.
Interesting.
Because truthfully, just as kind of like you answered and said, what do you do? But you really told me who you are.
Yeah.
Which is
Isn't
fine.
that funny? Yeah,
Which
right.
is fine. But a lot of people do the opposite. They'll say, you know, here's who I am. And then they'll say, I work for so and so, and this is what I do.
Yeah.
So, a few questions that popped up as you were going through that. What do you have a position or title with a construction company, or are you just? What would you define your title or your role there?
They just categorized me as a chief of staff. But what I consider myself doing is I went from being heavy in the marketing side, creating social media content, because I just loved doing that promotion, bringing in sales, bringing in attention. But now what I'm really focused on more so is exiting that side. And I guess you could call it chief of staff. I'm going around and I'm learning from my father and from another person who we just brought on of really how to manage these crews, how to set up the jobs, how to actually talk to the clients, to the customers that we have, and then how to relay that message properly to the guys in the field and really how to drive people forward and align them in the vision that we have. Because a lot of the time, it's okay, we're going in for a long day of work. Yeah, we're getting a paycheck, but where's the alignment? Where are we really going? Other than that paycheck, what are we getting? What are we building? So creating that alignment and creating that team is something that I've been focusing on a lot. And in the process of doing that, I've been going to a lot of these mindset and business events to help me learn the knowledge, learn the strategies, and then actually implement them.
That's cool. I mean, you said though, is it cold? But you told me you're in South Florida. Is that, do y'all have business?
Yeah,
Other way? Don't tell me you get cold in South Florida.
no,
What, it like
no.
below
I'm
60?
always sweating. I'm starting to adjust. The construction company's based out of New York, so
Ah,
the cold winters, it gets freezing.
yeah, we're doing a building project down in southern Arizona. We're putting a house in down
Yeah,
there. My wife and I are. After being homeless for a long time, it's actually a big step for us. When you live in an RV and travel around, it's like, okay, huh. But we were looking at the work schedule and, they were kind of telling us, yeah, it's 4.5 months. And I'm going, okay, what about delays and all that? They're going, we don't have delays. So we're in Arizona. There's no weather delay. I mean, we're going through the winter. It might, dip below 70 or something like that. So anyway, so chief of staff is like a big role. My wife, in a
yeah,
lot of the positions that she steps in, she's been executive assistant, she's been project specialist, she's a scrum master, all that type stuff. It's kind of a catch-all, which means you can kind of end up doing stuff all the way from the highest C-level decisions down to maybe even cleaning out the bath. I mean, it could include a
yeah,
lot of. What are the things that you're identifying are your superpower? Not the things you're doing. We do a lot of stuff that might
yeah,
just be stuff we have to do, and we know we're okay at it. But like, what is it that you like? I was created for blank.
yeah. It's funny you asked that question because for a long time, I actually struggled with that question, not knowing what that was. I understood it. Recently, over the past 2 months, I came to a conclusion about that, which when you talk about light up, what I light up about is when I'm on stage or on camera and I'm talking and I'm explaining something or I'm talking about mindset or business or how to do something. I'm coaching someone through an issue or I'm talking to people in the office when the morale's down and I'm raising up my energy, which people say is just contagious. And again, I bring back the example of a bridge builder, of a diversion. Zach, this is what other people say, Zach, your energy is contagious. We're having a hard day and you come in, next thing you know, we're all cracking up. The energy spikes. And people telling me that, it's interesting because I look back on that and I'm in my head, is that really true? I actually want to find the thing that lights me up. And then the more I do that, like even these podcasts, it lights me up. I have no energy. And then at the end of it, I'm like, you know what? I know that's what lights me up because I go into flow. I feel the Holy Spirit flowing. So that is what lights me up. And I'm able to take that in whatever direction in business, in relationships, personal life, public life, you name it.
Mm. So the good thing is that has, like you said, bridge builder, encourager. And, one of the things that's kind of interesting, I thought as I was asking the question, I'm going, sometimes I almost want to reel something back in, but I'm glad that question came out. because I think it's going to lead to some of the things that could be tension between generations. Because the cynic from someone in my generation would say, Zach, you're 23, 24 dang years old. You don't have a clue yet.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that in just a moment. I may want to respond. I'd love for us to mix it up a little bit. But before we go there, tell me about your dad. Tell me about what his superpowers are and what drives him. Because what I've noticed is there's some people that are like, just like parents. And then there's
Yeah.
others that are like these generations skip. Like my dad was super quiet still. Now he was very good at what he did. He was in education and was a superstar. Some of it I didn't realize till after he passed. Unfortunately, we had his funeral not too long ago, but he was quiet. And I'm like you, out.
Yeah.
People give me energy. Stages give
Yeah.
me energy. In fact, sometimes you have to watch out because it could become a drug. That we could talk.
Mhm.
Tell me about your dad.
At his core, he's a problem solver, family man and problem solver. Everything that he does in business is what's a problem? Let me fix it. And I honestly think that's his drug of choice, which sometimes is not the best when he's trying to be present in business and then in family, because we'll be in business and I'm used to just him solving problems all the time. What is it? Okay, good. He moves so quickly. That's his gift. But then bringing it back to the family, I have two sisters and my mom. So they're more in the frame of, I just want to tell you how my day was, tell you my problems. I don't want you to fix them. And it creates a lot of back and forth tension, which is funny. But I think that I'm a lot like my dad in the fact that I'm go, 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 problem solving, like I want to create. What I will say is he's very family based, which he also gave me the values that he instilled in me to a fault, though. And why I say that is because he has a big family, and sometimes in the past, he would go to try and help them, like be the savior in a way. So sometimes it would drag us back. And because of that, you're not just dragging yourself back. Now you have your wife, now you have your kid, now you have all these other opinions and voices to deal with. And if it works out, amazing. But if it doesn't work out, now you got to deal with, they said all this and yet I did that. But at a young age, why I love that on the positive side, on the upper side, is because when I was younger, he used to take me around to all of his job sites. So I was meeting people that were 50s, 60s, 70s, very successful in the car dealership area. He was always instilling me the values of communication, of character. If you say you're going to do something, you better get it done. You finish it. And if you can't, you man up. You do whatever is right in that circumstance to recover, to help fix it. And always prioritize family, always prioritize the communication and the relationships. So I got that from him. And in the process, he did something very smart with me, which I always tell younger kids, like, do this with your parents. He started bringing me around to these mastermind events. And it was, number one, a bonding experience to the business events and the mindset events because we'd grow together. But he would take me, and at the time I was horrible at speaking with people, and he'd go, this is how you do it. He'd introduce me to someone, he showed me, and then he goes, okay, Zach, drew me out in like 500,000 people audience. And he's like, okay, meet this person, meet that person. So he pushed that into me. And then he started to nudge me into the more of the confidence. Okay, go up to that person, ask that waiter what their name is. So you now know them. Okay, leave a place better than you found it. Leave a tip, make someone smile. So through doing that, it looked like I matured so much more because now people are like, you're 28, right? And I'm like, no, 23. And they're like, wait, what? You stand and you look older. I wish my son, I wish my children had someone like that around you. And those are what I believe are the good things that he instilled in me that I can now take into my life, but also instill in other people my age.
Yeah, it's interesting when you say someone's a fixer. If someone's wired as a fixer and they're trying to fix everything, including things that people haven't asked to be fixed, like a father trying to fix their kids that are maybe getting old enough to where they don't think or want, they probably need to be, but they just don't want to be. There's some tension there. That's some generational type things
Yeah.
too. And, but I think it's so cool that he put you in positions that forced you to be uncomfortable, stretched, different things like that. Do you think, are you being groomed to do something in the business? Is there any pressure there? Or is it like, Zach, do whatever you want? You know, you could do some stuff here, but if you want to go out and, I don't know, dig ditches, be a YouTuber, be a, oh, heaven forbid, a podcaster, you know, go do it. What's the story there?
Both.
Okay,
Both.
good.
There wasn't ever a Zach, this is who you are. You're running this company.
Hmm.
But there was more of an opportunity there. Zach, you can do this. This is for you. I, over the past few years, have assumed that role of, okay, I want to actually take this. You're not forcing me to, but I like where this is going and I see a bigger vision for this. Therefore, I'm going to invest more time. What I will say, which is very different from most parents, I believe at most dads, is that my dad always encouraged me. I guess my parents did, but more so my dad always encouraged me. Like, if you want to do something, do it, but do it all the way. Like, you're the best. Like, in your mind, you have to always keep on learning, keep developing, but in your mind, you need, in a humble way, you're the best. So whether that's going to make videos, starting a podcast, going into acting, going into construction, whatever it is, I'm behind you all the way. And one of the reasons that he fell on that side so hard is because, like I said, I was doing the social media content for a construction company. And something happened where after 4 years of posting consistently, almost every single day, this was my passion. I got a call one day basically saying, you have to stop everything because we were going to go into a partnership, a whole big ordeal that fell through. I basically broke down. I didn't talk to him for like 2 days straight. I wouldn't answer his call, wouldn't answer anything. That moment literally shattered our relationship. Trust has to be built through years, they say, and can be broken in an instant. And I never understood that until that moment. But over the coming months, we really put more time into talk with each other and really understand what we were feeling. And I told him, listen, a lot of people don't believe in what I'm doing. They don't see what I'm doing, but I do. And I kept on painting the picture for him. And I said, listen, Dad, like, I know what I'm doing. I've learned from the best. I've learned from the people that my friends that have blown up doing this. And this is what I see. And this is what I want to do. And he saw how much I was hurt and how lost I got when that was cut off from me. In the process, he said to himself, I'll never hinder my son again. I'll never pull him back from something that he's passionate in doing. I'll always be behind him 100%. And that's pushed family out. That's pushed friends out. But it's made my relationship with my father, my family, and our team so much stronger. And I thank him every single day for that because of now what I'm doing over this past year and what the future looks like now, because my family, my parents, my dad can actually see that. And now I see in his eyes that he understands and he's proud. And he's like, Zach, you know what? You go, you do it. I'm going to push you. Someone asks what you do. My son does this. My son does that. Like, I'm happy about it. You don't understand what it is? Well, I do. Check this out. So it's a complete different dream of mine from a lot of people his generation. And again, God bless him for being behind me. If he wasn't behind me, I wouldn't be where I am, and I'd have a really bad relationship with family.
Mhm. So this is like getting a bit predictive. You mentioned earlier that you were able to see things 6 months out. I actually sometimes categorize that as strategic. To me, sometimes visionaries, that word, I'll say this, it might be semantics, but sometimes visionaries are thinking just like way up in the clouds. And it's just like, oh, nothing wrong with any of this. Drive Lamborghinis
Yeah.
and eat cashews and all kind of stuff, live large. The cashew joke is a bad joke. It's an old movie thing, but don't worry about it. It's older than you are. But strategic, though, is someone who could see kind of where a business is 90 days out. The reason I know that's the strategic is because strategic is my number one on Strength Finders. And it's what I do when I work with organizations. I am always thinking 90 days, 90 days, 90 days. The reason 90 days is so significant for me, it's just far out to where you are looking ahead, but you can't sit around and do nothing today. Sometimes vision, like 5 years from now, we're going to blah, blah, blah. You don't have to do anything today. 90
Yeah.
days, you got to start doing stuff today. I mean, I'm not,
I like that.
I'm not arguing with you, but I'm kind of saying the way you said it more in a strategic way, probably with the vision sprinkled.
I agree with you on that.
Okay, good. Tell me about, because I'm guessing you do work with some people that are the generation above you, or, twice your age or 40 years beyond, like I am. Tell me some things that are some tensions there, some things that you notice that, some of them maybe you work through, some of them you just deal with, some of them might come to a head, but just tell me some of those, because I'd love for us to pick apart some of those if we could while we're talking.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest ones is the age difference and experience and knowledge, where I think you said at the beginning of this call, what's a 23, 24-year-old know? Like, what are they going to talk to me about? It's the heavy bias, and being able to understand that, not take it in a bad way, but kind of wow someone respectfully. I think that's something that I've had to learn how to do over and over, because a lot of people that I meet with my dad, they'll shake my hand. They won't really take me seriously. They'll just look at me and, give them a firm handshake, look them in the eyes. They're like, okay, wow, I didn't expect that. And then my dad, hey, Zach, what do you think about this? I say something, and then you sprinkle in the little whoa moments, But I think even more than that is sometimes I tell my dad, because he always wants me to tell people what I do, like who I am, that are his age. And I say, I could say that, but I think an even more powerful way of doing that, of releasing the tensions, is literally, Dad, you tell them. Like, coming from someone else that is their age, that they relate with, is even more powerful. That's definitely one of the tensions that I see, is the age difference and knowledge. Like, who are you? What do you got to offer?
Yeah, the good and the bad of the generation is that, unfortunately, most things in our culture really is pressing towards division. Male,
Yeah.
color, race, whatever, country, whatever.
Yeah.
And the age thing is part of it. But, here's the thing. We just recently hired, I might have mentioned this, I don't know if I said it before we hit record or after record, but we recently hired someone in the financial department at the company we're with. And we were really wanting to hire someone younger, because we're looking for someone that's got the energy, the accuracy, the speed, but we also needed some humility to say, I I I can learn from you old dudes to get some info to help. And so, we actually went through our entire process with that in mind. There was one other thing, though, that was very important, and I want to say this, and then I'll let you respond. We have a fairly mature organization. We're somewhat related in the construction industry and all too, but we do engineering and material supply and things like that. And we knew that this person had to have quite the backbone and confidence to not back down when some people were pushing them around, sales guy that's pressing on something, or, we had today one of our big customers that they owe a little bit. So we were going to cut them off, let them know, well, he's, so tell me, this is something I'd love, because I think it fits into mindset.
Yeah.
How someone balances confidence and humility, so you don't tick off older dudes? And this is a hard question because
Yeah.
I don't know if you will know the exact answer, but I'm just interested in what you have to say.
That is a great question. I heard this quote today from this video, and there was a guy that said, be humble in your personal life, be a shark in business.
Hmm.
And that really hit me. I've been told a lot of times in my life to be humble, don't be right? I've learned this from one of my close friends and mentors, Jeff. Being able to be in the industry of construction where you need a backbone, there's a way to be humble yet be confident. And I think that the way that he showed me is you don't disrespect anyone. You show them respect. You treat them how you want to be treated. But at the same time, when you have these little conflicts, when you have these little battles of, hey, the stairs are supposed to be here. And they go, no, they're not. No, they're not. You better know that they are supposed to be there, and you better come with evidence. You better say it in the correct way. And in doing so, you'll establish, number one, respect. But number two, you'll show your confidence that you have behind that because you know that you're correct. I think that is definitely a way that he showed me how to balance the two. And I think that in business, a lot of people ask me the question of how do I become more confident? And I've learned two things through the mindset. Number one, confidence is just comfort. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm comfortable in what I'm doing. Number two, it comes from doing it over a repeated amount of times, consistency over a long time. So you're comfortable because you've done it so much. So to conclude your question, I go back to that example with Jeff. I think there's a fine balance. And to be honest, I think I'm still searching for that answer today. But right now, it's just that. Being able to be wise, know what you're talking about before you ask the question, before you answer the question, and being able to back it up. Not being rude, not being arrogant in what you're saying, but show them respect. Everyone wants to have respect. Everyone wants to be treated fairly. Everyone wants to be treated like they're amazing, like they're a king or a queen. Show them respect. Treat them like that. But when you go in for a question and when you go into to have not a debate, but talk about a specific discussion that you might not both agree on, come backed up, ready to go. And when you do that, and when you show, hey, I could lead the guys, I can do this, I can do that, I have experience, watch their eyebrows. They're going to go like this. They're going to be like, oh, wow, this person really does know. He's testing me right now. And I go, oh, and it worked. And then the guy came back, shook his hand and said, amazing job.
Yeah, so you're being tested. And it is. And
Yeah.
you do have to earn trust. You have to earn that. And sometimes there's skepticism. I think one of the reasons why, and this maybe gets back to the mindset and some of the things that you're attempting to instill in the generation that you're in, I actually see a large number, and I don't know how to measure this. I see a large number of people in that generation that do not have what we'll call confidence. They do not have the comfort in their own skin. They're kind of questioning things. They come to situations with what I'll call a weak posture. And listen, I think we all need to be careful at an age that the thing that actually softened, or I don't know, ripped me to shreds, depending on how you look at it, was 2008 to 2012, that kind of took me out of my thinking that I could control the world and run it and all that type stuff. So sometimes we are humbled, and I want to talk
Yeah.
about that in just a little while, because I think you've had a situation that
Yeah.
has done that, and we may not have them listening in because we may not attract them. But what would you say to that person? Let's just say they're in the younger bracket, that they're still timid, cautious, etc. Because see, here's what I'd rather do. I'll just be blunt. I would much rather have a guns blazing Zach come into my business or and I might smile and smirk going, okay, yeah, we'll see. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in a position where you're either going to
Mm-hmm.
rise up or be humbled a little bit. And then I'm going to come in and say, okay, now let's get started.
Yeah.
There's some that can't even see that. What would you tell them? What's the mindset? How can they work on just upping their game so that they don't get eaten up
Yeah.
when they step into business situations?
By the way, what you just said, I absolutely love and I agree with 100%. I truly believe that my generation and the generation a little bit below me, way too soft. Way too soft. We need, what I was taught is the duck feathers, right? When water hits you, it repels right off. We need some wake up calls. We need some big wake up calls. We need to be shattered. We need to be broken down and rebuilt. That's why I love like my dad's generation, because even in construction, I'm now getting used to it. The guys are like, do that. I'm like, it's heavy. I don't know if I can. They're like, yo, stop being up and just do it. And I'm like, kidding me?
When's the last time you sat around with your dad and said, hey, let's talk about our feelings?
Oh my
What's
gosh.
your emotions right now? And there's some people listening in going, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like, it does not compute. I mean, I wish I could.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Zach. I can't. I
No,
mean,
no, no.
yeah, but no, we're not going to go there.
I've been on both sides and I can mesh between both sides, which is good, which is why I guess they call me like the bridge builder. But I just had an example 2 weeks ago where I was telling someone, I'm like, I'm still pushing. I'm having a fantastic day, but like my back, my legs, I just did a workout. It's killing me. I didn't get a good sleep. And one of my friends starts to the side and he goes, yo, I don't deal with. And I look at him, I go, sounds good. Let's get in the car. Let's go back to work. Let's put some steel up, like just straight to the core. But getting back to your question, I'd say that, I guess I'll talk to specifically the younger men, because that's who I am and that's what I'm targeting specifically, is that get around people who you want to be like. I don't care if that's YouTube videos, finding people online, finding people in person, going to a specific location, but get in person with them. Join a coaching program, join a private coach, go to a mastermind, get involved with maybe your father or your uncle, but people who have those values. Let's get up, let's work hard. I'm going to shape you. I've been to a bunch of different events, and every time that I got pushed past my limits and held accountable in the process, I've changed and I've developed. And for younger men, I'd say that the biggest thing that they can do with self-confidence and clarity is focusing heavily on their mindset and personal development. If you spend, my friend did the 70-30 or 80-20 on developing your mindset half of the day, then going out and implementing and working and doing it. Yeah, you might not be doing what every other kid, young adult your age is doing, going out partying or whatever. But I'll tell you one thing, you're going to go through the fire and you're going to get cheap doing it. And next thing you know, you're going to mature and outgrow everyone. And because you've been through so much stuff and learned from people that are older than you, and they're going to push you and they're going to break you. And you're going to want to throw up. You're going to want to crawl in a hole, whatever. That's good, because that's what's shaping you. And the more that you are able to work on that mindset of understanding, okay, I feel like this. Listen, it's just a feeling. What other feeling can I get? Okay, I'm motivated. I'm inspired by these people. They're pushing me. Sometimes I don't feel like doing it. That doesn't matter. What did Dom and Jeff say? They said, get it done. And when you get it done, you're going to feel better. So I did that. And next thing you know, your mindset is going to be the thing that's taking you to the next level. People are going to start looking at you different. You're different. You're going to start connecting with the generation above you more. And next thing you know, people are going to want to start being around you. This goes back into, by the way, the don't chase, attract. Because for such a long time, I was always chasing money, girls, fame, views. And it was so unfulfilling. And then at one point, I'm just like, screw it. Number one, Lord, I give myself to you. Use me. Show me the way. And I just obsessively, every single day, focused on exactly what I just said. And I invested my time. I invested even my money into these people. And they showed me the exact blueprint. That's why when younger people ask me that question and I tell them that answer, they're like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to invest. That's a lot of money to invest. I don't know if I want to wake up that early. If you do the same thing, you're going to be in the same exact position that you're at. And the reason why I'm raising my voice and saying it like this is because so many people say that, and it's so simple. Again, you're just soft. Stop being so soft. Go through the fire.
So, Zach, one of the things I want to come back to the don't chase a track because I think that's important. It's foundational. I think it's one of the things that drew me
Yeah.
to what you were doing and wanted to have you as a guest when you came across our desk. But one of the other things that people in generations will say is you haven't lived enough. You haven't experienced enough. You haven't been beaten up. You know, what's the Tyson quote? You find out what somebody is when they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
But you've been through a few things. You've had some stuff. And, there was something, obviously, you're a healthy, good looking young dude, but yet you've had some health challenges.
Yeah.
Tell me more about what you've been through
Yeah.
and how it shaped you and impacted your mindset,
Yeah.
the way you're thinking right now.
Yeah. 100%. By the way, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is when people say you haven't been punched in the face or they take advice from someone else of an opinion of someone else. How can you know, respectfully, how can you know what I've been through when you haven't even spent the time in person or looking up me, what I've done, what I've been through? First do that and then form your own opinions, respectfully.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
So,
fair. Unfortunately, most people think their situation's always worse
yeah,
than others. So let's
yeah.
keep playing that.
So at a young age, I had extreme trouble talking to people. I couldn't talk to anyone. I would stumble over my words. I had anxiety, and I basically overcame that by putting myself in these positions, like these events, going and talking to people over and over. And I developed myself. That was a little hurdle looking back. The bigger thing that has happened to me was, I think about 3 years ago, was I had 48% spinal curvature in my back. So I had an S curve, scoliosis, and I went in for an 8-hour surgery, and they basically straightened my spine. I have 8 screws and 2 rods going down my back. Now, that was one of the hardest experiences, journeys in my life physically, because I lost all of my muscle in the process. I could not get up. I could not move. I had to relearn how to stand, how to walk, how to run, how to get back in the gym. That was a huge, massive struggle for me, which humbled me, but gave me more confidence in the process as I came back from it. And along with that, put me in a really dark spot where I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't really want to do anything. And that's when I realized that's when I took a huge dive into the mindset and personal development and physique and health, because I realized that if I didn't have my health, if I didn't have my strength, then no matter what I did in life, my focus, all my energy would be feeling like crap. How can I get out of that feeling? How can I get out of that state that I'm in? So that's what kicked off my mindset and health journey, was that spinal surgery. And then on the financial side, both personally and in business as a family, when I was a couple years younger, I started a company around social media, and it was amazing. I was making 10K plus a month. It was great. And it wasn't my calling, and I was burning myself out both sides of the candle, and I stopped. And in the process, might not sound like a lot, but in the process, I literally had zero money coming in. So I remember a bank account, negative balance, not being able to afford food on some weekends, like fasting, which was a little taste, getting humbled of like, oh my God, look, I have all this stuff, to nothing. But on an even deeper level, there was a time when my family, the business, we got hit really hard to the point where my dad had to work what I would consider 24/7 every single day, trying to get back hundreds of $1,000s in debt coming back. And it put a huge strain on the family, but also on me, because I was in the business. I'm part of the business, and we're coming back from it. But that was another lesson in itself of being humbled of, okay, are you going to go spend money on these cars? Or are you going to spend money putting it back into an investment, into stocks, into real estate, into your family, into donations? So I consider myself having, and I'm probably leaving out a couple of different experiences, but been around the pole, been around whatever you want to call it, a good amount of times. And if I haven't been the one to experience it, I've known people who have experienced that as well. Heartbreak, loss. I've lost many people in my life at a very young age. I've been through heartbreak a couple times. You name it. I feel like I've been through a lot of stuff for my age, which is why it's funny when people say that of like, who are you? Like, what have you done? But again, it goes back to the thing I said before, which is I'd rather like my dad or someone else say it to people than me having to try and explain it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things you've sprinkled it in, but I think this is a good time to bring the faith component into
Yeah.
your journey. And obviously, there have been ups and downs. You mentioned the financial challenges of the family. I mean,
Yeah.
if you were to talk to our grown children, they would say the same thing. We had real estate
Yeah.
companies heading into '08. That was
Mm,
we thought we were
yeah.
doing great and everything like that. The rest of that story is interesting. The ups and downs, even though they're not yours totally, they're yours.
Yeah.
Tell me about what faith was like in your household, if it was there, and how that has, what impact it's had as you've gone through things you've gone through heading up to where you are now.
It's been rocky, but I'm glad to say right now it's stronger than it's ever been. So I grew up private Catholic school all my life. And it's kind of like it's been shoved down my throat. So at a young age, I grew up Catholic and into religion. And then I guess around high school to college, I kind of pushed it out because I felt like I was living two different lives. Felt like I was living the college life and having fun. And then Sunday, you go to church, maybe you skip a day, or you're not living like you should be, it says in the Bible. And I kind of pushed that away. And because of that, I was trying to do everything on my own. You name it, personal life, business life, whatever. And I kept on finding that every time I tried to do something on my own and I got it, I was unfulfilled. Or like it just wouldn't happen. I was trying harder and harder. And then I went to an event and I was just in nature and I was walking around. And that's when I came back into much, much deeper connection with faith to a point where I went to a group called Rise of Kings. And it's basically ex-military people taking you through training, breaking you, like literally just breaking you. And they instill the values of Christ, of religion, of turning to the Lord. And that sparked my curiosity again because I was studying a lot of different successful people in different industries. I was realizing that there was one common theme. Everyone talked about giving back and about faith in the Lord.
Hmm.
If everyone's talking about that, there must be a reason. And although there's all different denominations, it seems like everyone is pointing to a path, to a higher purpose, to a higher universe, to God. And then I started reading the Bible and I started learning, oh my gosh, 2 years ago, I wish I had this answer. And then through the Bible, I started understanding, okay, it's not that we don't fall into temptations. It's not that you build this on your own. It's that, yes, we do have these, but if you put the Lord as your rock, as your bed, as your foundation, and you seek him first, everything else will come. He will fill you with the love. He will take away your temptation. He will build your business. And the biggest thing that I learned is that we were building our business, but it wasn't with a focus in religion on God. And we got to like these crazy heights. Looking back now, I would call ourselves arrogant. And then what did it do? What happened? We got humbled. We got humbled. God said, no, 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 what I believe. And he brought us back. And in that process, I remember there was a night that I was in a church and I began to cry, to break down because I was just, my soul was just hurting so much. And I just realized in that moment, I'm like, this all means nothing. Like the love that I'm searching for, the answers that I have, Lord, I get it from when I'm talking with you, like the peace that I have. And I'm looking for a girlfriend, for love, for parents, for love, for money, for validation, for all the stuff when I'm going to die someday. And then in that moment, it's crazy. A lot of different friends, a lot of different people that I met started coming together. And the one common theme, we're all rooted in Christ. We're all rooted in the Lord. We all have faith and we live by what we read, by the word. And it's just so beautiful how the more time goes on, the more that relationship deepens, the more opportunities come and the easier it is. So that's been my relationship with faith. And I'm trying to instill that in my family even more, because out of all people in my family, I'm the most spiritual, religious, but I love sharing that with people even in my generation, because when I see someone get that connection and surrender and just the tears and the joy, it makes me feel so much more at peace, so much more fulfilled and lively. And I have a picture right up here above my computer. Every person that I look up to, that I want to become like, that's the one thing that they have in common. All say praise the Lord for my success.
That's good. So you go from religion to relationship and you start making it personal. I noticed that trend with the people that I communicate with and interview. It's like there's something that occurs that it goes from, something superficial, something maybe they're checking the
Yeah.
boxes, to something personal. And the journey, it continues. It's not a journey that ends or anything like that. I actually believe it doesn't end as we, move from
Yeah.
this realm to the other. One of the things that I actually perceive,
Yeah.
I actually believe that one of the biggest challenges with all generations, but especially yours, is this thing that we call social media. It's one
Mm,
of the biggest. It's awesome and horrible at the same time.
yeah.
It's lovely and just ugly at the same time. And, we're going to finish up in just a couple minutes talking
Yeah.
about attracting versus chasing. But let's talk a little bit about social media.
I love this.
I find, see, I'm of the generation where we remember when, I hate to say, I remember when there was no internet. I remember when Alexander Graham Bell invented the phone. No, I'm joking about that. But um, I did have a bag phone and a pager at one point early on in my life. But so social media is like next level soul test.
Oh yeah.
And it sounds like you were deep down into it, making money. You were making it
Yeah.
happen, and then you weren't. So tell me what that did for your soul and your mindset dealing with social media as
Yeah.
much as you were.
I'm an old soul. So I'm really, it's weird because I'm on social media, but I'm the type of person to show up the phone, get outside, let's go for a walk, let's drive some quads, let's shoot some guns, whatever. Let's just have a good time being together. Let's go to the beach, let's have a walk. I was so obsessed with social media 2, 3 years ago that was my life, like everything. And I was just focused straight up on, I want to make money with this. I want to get views. I want to do this. And I achieved that, but I was so unfulfilled. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, to me, none of that matters at all. Like, it goes back into religion for me. Like, I'm trying to find validation. I feel like a lot of kids my age are trying to find validation in posting what other people think, getting my hair done and in my clothes and how I'm speaking, what I'm saying on social media, and posting these crazy videos that grab guys' eyes and it sucks them in. So I'll say this: social media can be very bad and very good for how you use it. Very bad in the frame of how your social media is programmed for you. So is your feed showing you stupid stuff? just brain rotting stuff? Is it showing you negative, toxic things? Because that subconsciously is going to get into your mind without you realizing. And you're going to realize why you have low energy, why you're hanging around with bad people, why you're doing bad things, because you're being, and this happened to me, you're being programmed through social media for that. You're consuming. And then there's the other side of it where the content that you're seeing is podcasts, is books, it's how to structure a business, it's how to talk, it's how to build confidence. It's things like this that you're learning, and you have folders, and you only go on for an hour, 2 hours at most. I'm going to say an hour, 30 minutes to an hour at most. And this is where discipline and the mindset comes in so hard. If that hour ends, you're done. Get off. But then the same side to this is put out more than you take in. So put out more value, push out more value. Don't get sucked in, because these social media platforms are so specifically designed to hack our brain, to go into the subconscious, where it's literally hypnosis, that you're in a different reality. And this you get sucked in. So that's what I always tell people is, number one, curate your feeds on your social media to be productive, to be learning, to be educating yourself and improving. Cut off at a specific time, gone. And any other time that you go on social media, it's to put out value. It's to communicate with the loved one, communicate with a friend, make a plan, share a piece of content, bring in more eyeballs, more engagement for your business, to bring in more referrals. And I think this is so important, especially for anyone who's on social media, that don't fall into the trap that I was with. I'm going to get 1 million views, which I have a video that hit 10 million. Like, focus, if you're going to do this, on the engagement side, providing value, on connecting with other people, because I believe back in the day, that's what it is. We thrived off of communication, and don't use it on the negative, brain rotting, toxic stuff that 90% of people do. Use it in the most productive way possible.
Yeah, it does have so much power if we allow it to. And that's kind of where mindset comes in. I want to ask one final thing, because
Yeah.
it was the thing, I think, like I said earlier, that kind of drew me to you. And it's the don't chase, attract statement. The reason I believe it's important, I think, Zach, I truly believe that it probably took me till I was about 50 to 55 years old to truly grasp that. And so it's fascinating to me. I'm going to ask you to talk about it here in our last few minutes. Talk about why it is that's become foundational for you, how it's come about. Do you think you've mastered it, or are you still in the process? That's a trick question, by the way. But talk about that. Don't chase, attract. And then I'll have one more question or two before we wrap up.
So, funny enough, this saying came after a trip from Italy that I had. And I'll share it because I think it could really help people out. So I was on a plane ride home from Italy, and there was this person at the time that I really liked, right? And I was coming back, and I was getting over the high of being in Italy, being with that person, being with my family. And I started to get, I guess some people could call it an anxiety attack on the plane. And I'm like, why am I feeling this way? Like, really searching, why am I feeling this way? What's going on? And I realized that I was chasing everything in my life up to that point. Literally everything in my life. I was chasing, okay, how do I make a next sale? How do I bring this money? Okay, that girl looks cute. That girl, yeah, let's go after that. Okay, this business idea, e-com, drop shipping, like scatterbrain. And part of the time I wouldn't get it ever. The other time I would. And when I get it, again, I felt so unfulfilled, and I wouldn't understand why. And then it just clicked for me on that plane, because I'm like, what happens if I flip it? What happens if I stop trying to chase other people, chase other things, And I just go all in on myself. Because do I think I'm at my full potential? No. Do I know there's more things to learn and to become? Yeah. So what if I go all in on business, on mindset, on developing myself, on my physique, and I create myself into this person that always achieves a new level, that every month someone sees me, I'm at a different height, I'm at a different level, and I'm able to bring that into my family, create a better family, better relationships, better friendships, better business. In the first thing on the side of the plane was just to get this person to like me back, to show me attention. Because I'm like, if I can be here, then they're actually going to show me attention because they'd be like, oh my gosh, who is that? Like, I want to be with him. And it's funny enough that as time goes on, you mature more. To now, I'm like, that doesn't even matter anymore. All I know is that through this thing that everyone loves, don't chase the draft, the whole meaning, the whole purpose behind it is focus on developing you, focus on becoming a better person, on learning, on understanding more about you, emotional intelligence, business, whatever it is, so that you could be the best person showing up each and every single day. And when you do that, I believe things will be attracted to you. God will see, okay, my humble servant, you just graduated to the next level. Now you're able to go fight for and receive the next thing that I want you to have. You stop worrying about what everyone else is thinking of you, and you start focusing, hey, I'm comfortable, I'm confident in myself because I've developed that. And because of that, not only will things come to you in the process, but the right things will be attracted and come into your life. And instead of chasing, which is to me, scarcity, lack of abundance, you're attracting and it's pulling. It's like a magnet. A magnet just pulls all the right things that are magnetically attracted to it. And it's like what I say when someone walks in the room and they have that energy, you're like, whoa, why is that? Because they worked on themselves. They worked on themselves and they have that energy that pulls in and they know who they are. So if you don't like them, respectfully, you have your own opinion, but that doesn't matter because internally, I'm attracted. I'm working on myself. I know who I am. And anyone that's in my circle, we go out. We're driven. We're respectful, but we get it done. And people just started catching on to that saying. People started loving that saying. And I wake up and I live each day in that mindset.
Yeah, the great thing about it, I love that, by the way, is that the way this is some things I heard, maybe from my perspective, is you control what you can control. You can't control what other people do. You really can't control the results in a lot of business settings. You can control your actions, you can control your mindset, you can control your input. You cannot control. I mean, that's some of the things I learned through my business.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we're negative about it. That doesn't mean we don't go through the motions of doing what we know could work. But sometimes stuff happens. I've done what I can do daily, minute by minute, whatever. And so that there's a word you brought up earlier. I'm going to tie it back together and then we're going to finish
Yeah.
up here. You're at peace.
Good.
If you're chasing stuff or trying to do things that you don't really have control over, but you're trying to will it to be whether or not someone is interested in you on a plane, it sounds like it was a female,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, honey, it's like those things that I might have said it earlier. The less I think about it, I might have been on an interview earlier that someone was interviewing me. The less I think about it, it's the more I've got. It's odd. The more I've chased it though, the less I have. It's really weird. So Zach, what a great conversation. Tell me and everyone else how they can connect with you.
Yeah.
And tell them why they might connect with you. You know, I know you're communicating with people, you're doing podcasts and different things like that, but just what can you offer somebody to reach out to you?
So the easiest way to connect is ZachDelMonaco.com, which is just my name with an A, not an I at the end. People get that mixed up a lot. And then on Instagram, that's my main platform. Follow me there for more free content. And also that's probably the best place to reach out to me. And then why follow on with the journey? Well, we're in construction. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you're building something, My dad and I had this Red Rock scaling where we help young, driven entrepreneurs that are in the family business, help them scale their trade company. And then also just for clarity, life coaching, whether you're in your 18 to 25 or maybe even a bit older, feeling lost, but you have that drive, like, you're meant for something else and you're looking for that accountability. You're looking for someone to be by your side to help you achieve that. You're looking to get into a bigger group. Message me. I'd love to jump on a call with you, talk with you. But yeah, I love jumping on calls with people, seeing how I can help them and literally changing their lives fast, easy, simple, and getting results.
Bam.
Take my energy.
Yeah, don't chase a track. And I mean, if there's someone maybe particularly younger who's like still just like, I don't know, they're just needing a word of encouragement,
Yeah.
give them a quick burst of something. Just, just like I said, take 30 seconds or less to just give them
Yeah.
something real quick. We jump off.
Yeah. All right. Quick burst is, if you woke up today, there's a reason. There's a reason why you're here on earth. Don't focus on the things that you can't control. Focus on what you can. Focus on the good things that you have in life. Figure out why you have them. Any limiting beliefs that you might have, prove them wrong. Why is that? Where did that come from? How is that wrong? How is that not congruent with my life? Anything that you have, don't take too much time to think. Idea, action, go. Surround yourself with people who you want to be like and go at it like an animal with God on your back. You got this. We're here for you. Get after it.
Awesome. That might be our stinger clip. And you almost lit into rapping or whatever, like spoken word stuff. So Zach Del Monaco, man, I'm glad we got to talk. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I really recommend that if you were just stirred to just reach out to him, connect with him on Instagram or go to his site or, take him up on a phone call or anything like that. I
Yeah.
encourage you to do that. I actually want to give a shout out. I was at a wedding this last weekend and had a guy, Stuart Thomason, come up and say, Tim, I have been listening to your podcast. He's a young guy, Zach, and he might be the one you were speaking to. So, Stuart, this was for you,
Yeah.
buddy. And I think he's a second cousin of my wife or something. And he came up to me and said, man, I'm a Seek Go creator. I said, that's awesome. So, Stuart, shout out to you. Thank you, Zach. We have new episodes every Monday. We are Seek Go Create, and we'll see everybody next time.